Hello, welcome to Let's Play Twisted Metal's Yellow Jacket Part 3. This time we're in the suburbia, I think is what it's called. Ooh, it's like the suburbs of LA. There's some school building, and there's houses, residential land. There's even a few stores around. There's even a store that strongly resembles 7-Eleven hanging around here too. So first, Spectre actually goes after us first time around. Sweet Tooth nearly destroys us. Sweet Tooth probably is the most powerful character in this game. He is a real menace towards all the people in the game. He's a serial killer clown that drives around that ice cream truck of his. And when he wins, he wishes for, or at least what he wants to wish for if he wins, is his best friend. That's a paper bag. You know, some people have paper bags for friends. It's probably about the same as having an imaginary friend, and a lot of psychotic people have imaginary friends. It makes sense that people in this game would probably have imaginary friends. This level is really large. This is like the largest level imaginable. It's probably one of the largest levels you can get on the PlayStation in 1995. It has this like gutter area. It's supposed to be LA, so it's like some sort of like gutter area in LA or something like that. And then there's the houses, and there's like a big freeway, a big like large freeway you could drive on. You could have races there almost. You could like speed. You can speed down there. The only turbo pickup the entire level is located on there. We're going against a gauntlet of 8 contestants. There's so many contestants in this level. It's really hard to get through this level. This level really should have been the final level of the game. It's actually the second last level of the game. Yeah, that's right. This game's almost over. This game isn't very long at all. It's actually the shortest game in the entire Twisted Metal franchise. It only has 6 levels. Kind of like the Mega Man games. Like the first Mega Man game only had 6 Robot Masters. Then all the sequels had 8 Robot Masters. So that's what this game is like. First game has 6 levels. The second game in onwards has 8 levels, which is more fair and decent for a tournament, for a long-going tournament. And of course, you can hear more of the music we'll be hearing for this game. This game actually does have a really good soundtrack overall. The music in this game is really good. I think Twisted Metal 2 has the best soundtrack overall. I think the people that did the music to this game also did the music to Twisted Metal 2. I think they also did the music to Jet Moto as well too, because I'm pretty sure songs from Jet Moto and Twisted Metal 2. They also made Jet Moto the single track. This game was made by Single Track, and they also made Jet Moto, which is another good old classic on the PlayStation. I actually have the whole trilogy of that. We're actually made videos of the first 2 games a long time ago. I might make more videos of that, I don't know. And there's Jet Moto 3 as well too, which is different, just like Twisted Metal 3 was very different from the first 2 Twisted Metals. And see, look, there's Hammerhead. You see there, he's just ramming around. So does the AI breaks in this game a lot, where it like spazzes out and drives around, smashes into things. We're just passing by the 7-Eleven, and well, 7-Eleven isn't going to give us any health, but these things, these health rechargers, they give us health, which is pretty good. It's good they include this. This game would be a lot harder if it didn't allow us to recharge our health. And so it also seems to the enemies only seem to come after you. Like some of them actually try to downright run away from you. I said earlier, the AI is programmed to run away from you when there's other enemies present. That's probably why we're not going to be seeing very many enemies for a lot of this. There's 7 enemies now. We're not going to be seeing all of them come after us at once. The game might also do that to regulate difficulty. If that many enemies really did come after you all at once, this game would be a complete total nightmare. But thankfully, it's not. So it's actually kind of good to have it like that. They don't all come for you at once kind of thing. It's like, let's send in the pawns first, or send in the tougher guys first. If those can't do it, then we'll have the pawns take over last, which would be like Mr. Grimm and Spectre. But we already killed Spectre, I think. And so Roadkill's going after us. Roadkill on the Twisted Metal, but it says that Roadkill is supposed to be really strong, but really Roadkill's actually one of the weakest characters in this game. He's not the weakest of the elements, he's probably not weaker than Spectre, but he's still pretty strong overall. He's some army guy that wants to undo a mistake that he made in some war a long time ago, where he accidentally got his whole platoon killed. He wants to go back in time and change that so he could save all the members of his platoon. So I guess it's nice for him that he's actually doing something selfless, unlike most of the other contestants in this game. But again, since when in Twisted Metal people ever care about anyone else other than themselves? I say a lot of the contestants are in Twisted Metal. And you kind of have to be like, like really willing to risk your life kind of thing. If you ever have nothing to lose kind of thing, if you're willing to compete in Twisted Metal, considering how dangerous the competition is. And there's a 1 in 8, there's like a 7 out of 8 chance that you're probably going to get killed. So, yeah. If you park in front of the church, it recharges all your health, which is a pretty cool Easter egg that I saw in a video of this game from some guy named Louis Parsons or whatever. His name is Louis Parsons, I think his name or something like that. I don't remember his name exactly, but he's a guy that does a lot of videos in these Twisted Metal games. He actually plays on hard mode, where he actually plays as every single character ever, and he does everything you could ever imagine. That guy's insane. That guy must have been in the loony bin at one point in time. If you try doing some of the stuff with Twisted Metal that he does, you would end up in the loony bin. Most of the contestants in this game belong in a loony bin, or were admitted to the loony bin at one point or another. Some people say I belong in a loony bin for the fact that I still like playing these games in 2022. It's a year of 2022, and I only ever really play classic games. I don't own any modern game systems. I don't own any modern PlayStation systems because PlayStation screwed me over back in 2012, where they made it some new dumb rule they have to be 18 or over to go on YouTube with their PS3 system. I thought that was really stupid, so I boycott everything Sony's made since then. And even Sony stuff in general is kind of lacking. I had a choice between buying Sony earbuds or Skull Candy earbuds. I bought the Skull Candy earbuds. 3 years later, nearly 3 years later, I still have these Skull Candy earbuds, and I still use them a lot, and I still do stuff with them a lot. And the Sony earbuds, I bet if I bought the Sony earbuds, I bet they'd be broken right now. I'd have to have bought something different now, too. So I actually kind of saved money by not buying stuff from Sony. I don't really like Sony much anymore these days. They're actually not that great of a company in pretty much most aspects of what they are. I never bought an Xbox, a newer Xbox. The only Xbox I own is the original Xbox I keep saying before. So I don't have any intent on ever buying any of those newer Xboxes. Because I say, well, I buy those and you can just get a PC that can play all these good old classic games. Heck, most of the classic gaming I do nowadays, which is pretty much all the gaming. Pretty much all the gaming I do nowadays is classic gaming. And most of it's brought to us thanks to emulators. So yeah, kind of emulators to thank for that. And so you see we're driving around this, and I don't know what you call that, but we're driving around for there where it's really easy for so many contestants to fit in that small little space, and they can easily cram into you or run into you or run you down. Or they also, what makes matters worse too, is that as you push against some of the harder characters like Hammerhead and Darkseid and Sweet Tooth, the top 3 most powerful characters in this game. And I'm just driving for my life, trying to hide from them, and the church thing I don't think responds now. You can't get any more help from the church after you just get it once. So I'm just trying to run away from my life, trying to hide me, waiting for those other things to regenerate or recharge. Sweet Tooth barely got scratched at all, really. Look at that. Sweet Tooth still filled with health. Oh, look, they're back. The health regenerator things are back. Yeah, Sweet Tooth was barely scratched, if you can notice, because Sweet Tooth is really strong. You can't really run to Sweet Tooth. If you run to Sweet Tooth, you're probably going to get killed. It's not even be stronger than Warthog, or not just as strong as Warthog in terms of characters that you don't want to run into. And Sweet Tooth seems to be like hiding around too, probably waiting for us to, probably letting all the other contestants fight against us first, knowing that we're probably going to kill the other contestants. And Sweet Tooth wants to be the one that actually kills us. Makes sense considering the fact he's a serial killer that's been terrorizing the world for years on end, now for like 5 years now he's been a serial killer. And Warthog like almost completely destroyed us, because that's how Warthog is. I was considering doing a Let's Play of this as Warthog. I'm probably going to do the next game with Warthog, Twisted Metal 2, and Let's Play that. That's because Yellow Jacket's absent in Twisted Metal 2. He's absent in all the other sequels I mentioned before. So I'm going to have to play as someone else in Twisted Metal 2. I'm thinking about using Warthog, the character my father would always play as when he played Twisted Metal 2, which is his most played game ever. He played Twisted Metal 2 for like 300 hours straight once in September of 2010, and he ended up breaking my Slim PS1. I lent him that Slim PS1 way back then. Well, that's okay. That Slim PS1 didn't really do very well. I never liked the Slim PS1 as much. It wasn't bad, but the Fat PS1 is way better. Apparently, they were making Slim PS1s till much later than I realized. Apparently, according to one source on the internet, you could still buy those in as late as 2004. Which is pretty good. I mean, if I knew that then, I probably would have, I don't know if I would have bought another one or not, I don't know. And then apparently stores stopped selling PS1 games in 2006. I'm pretty sure I saw some PS1 games for sale new at some stores, and it's like Walmart or stores like that, in as late as 2007. That's how long PS1 really stood around for. PS1 really lasted a lot longer than a lot of people give it credit for. And the later games, they actually made games for it as late as 2005. Most of the games that came out as late for PS1, late PS1 games, were sports games. It's kind of a tradition for the PlayStation systems that at first they have like new good games, and for a long time they'll have new good games. And in the later declining years, pretty much only sports games come out on the system and not really anything else that's actually good. It happened to the PS1, it happened to the PS2, it happened to the PS3, and it probably will eventually happen to the PS4 soon. Now the PS5 is taking over the market, and PS4 is going the way of the dodo slowly. So, yeah, so it's probably going to be happening at PS4 real soon. We don't really get any new good games for the PS4, unless you count sports games as good games, which I don't really think much of sports games as good games, since I don't really like sports that much in general. The only sport I actually think highly, ever could think highly of somewhat, is football, and I only ever watch football when the FIFA World Cup or Euro Cups are on. I actually have a hat that says Team Spain on it. You can say Spain, it says Team Español on it, just Team Spain. Team España, and I actually bought that at a fair, or it wasn't really a fair, it was a Busker Fest that I went to 3 years ago. I used to go to that Busker Fest every year, being a town nearby where they have all sorts of traveling acts. It's like the circus. It's almost like a circus almost. There's people that perform, and there's like all sorts of cool activities and stuff like that. I haven't been to one of those in 3 years because of unforeseen circumstances caused it to be closed for the last 2 years, two years in a row straight. I'm not sure if there'll be one this year or not, but I don't know. It's usually June. I love June. June is when it starts to become warmer outside, and I like to go to the beach and stuff like that. And this game's supposed to be Christmas Eve, and it's like, looks like this because we're in LA, where apparently it never snows. But I wouldn't know because I never go to LA. I've never been to LA. I would like to go to LA maybe eventually, but I don't know. So I just got shot there. This is actually kind of intimidating now. There are 4 enemies left. I have half of the enemies destroyed, and I only have 1 more. Okay, so I have a little more than half of them destroyed now, but still, there's still quite a few enemies left, and my health is decent, but I still have 1 life left, so this is actually going to be kind of... Okay, now my health is nearly half, so yeah, there's more than half gone now, too, so yeah, this is very intimidating. This is like, ooh, I'm hanging by a thread kind of thing. So I just have to drive around here. I'm just going to do what I always do. My strategy mostly is just drive around in circles. I find driving around in circles and orbiting enemies, trying to stay away from enemies, and finding health pickups is a really good tactic for survival. It's also really easy too if you're being Yellow Jacket, because Yellow Jacket's kind of fast. I'm not even using Turbo, and Yellow Jacket moves really fast. It's just so cool about Yellow Jacket. He's like the best of both worlds. He's strong, he's also fast, which makes him such an awesome car overall. It's really hard to maneuver around, so I've got to maneuver around things. As I mentioned earlier, that this game, it feels like you're driving on ice, which really adds a lot to the challenge. This game would be a lot easier if it was like Twisted Metal 4, where it doesn't feel like you're driving on ice. But what do I know about these? What do I know? Oh, look at that, I'm getting stuck in the wall. That's such a common occurrence in Twisted Metal 4, to get stuck in walls or stuck on the side, as if they're made out of magnets. Because every surface in that game seems to be magnetized, but not in this game. This game's also filled with sprites. As I mentioned in the first video, that the car models are like origami kind of thing, or like 2D models that get folded up and made into 3D shapes. But notice a lot of the other things in this game seem to be sprites too, like the detailing on those houses and the trees, everything. And Sweet Tooth's had that little clown head on top of Sweet Tooth's truck. It all seems to be sprites. Sprites are heavily used for this game, which was kind of an acceptable thing back in 1995 when the PS1 was new and people didn't really know how to utilize its graphical abilities at the time. But what do you expect? That's why I give a lot of these games slack for when they don't do things right, they don't do things properly. I mean, it's fair to cut games like this slack. They're just in the first games. This is before the N64 came out, so they weren't really competing with N64 yet at this point in time. At this point in time, they're really just competing with, well, what was out before, which would have been like the Super NES, the Sega Genesis, and then they tried to have games like this in the later years. They tried making 3D games like this, but a lot of them didn't really do so well. I mean, Virtua Racing on the regular Sega Genesis was fine, and they also had Star Fox on the SNES, which looked pretty good overall. May have worked pretty well for SNES, but still, game systems like that weren't really made to deal with 3D. That was more like that should have been saved for the next generation of gaming, which is this generation, which was the PlayStation generation. So I just drove by the 7-Eleven, and it doesn't actually say 7-Eleven on it, because that's because 7-Eleven didn't want to be affiliated with a violent game, so they pulled out. The Twisted Metal games don't really have very much product placements in them. Well, Twisted Metal 4 had some product placements in it, but this game doesn't really have any product placements in it. Jump Moto had some product placement in it, though, where it promoted Pepsi and Mountain Dew. There's even a whole team in that game called Team Mountain Dew, where it was obviously a big promotion for Mountain Dew, a big product placement for Mountain Dew. I used to drink Mountain Dew quite a bit back, well, not really a lot, but every now and then I'd have a Mountain Dew. That was back when I was still allowed to drink soda, which I don't drink soda anymore. I haven't had a soda drink in over 3 years now. I've been drinking more non-alcoholic beer than soda in the last 3 years, so, that actually does say a lot. think Hammerhead's scared right now because they planted planted a few bombs, mid-trail bombs. They're scared. The AI is programmed to try to avoid bombs and try to avoid your attacks as much as possible. Even the AI breaks itself a lot too. So, I don't really see much of that in this playthrough, but the AI does break itself a lot. Hammerhead's nearly dead. I still want to ram into Hammerhead when he's dead because, well, he's Hammerhead. He can still do a lot of damage to you. So yeah, there it is. We won this battle. The next battle is the final battle. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.